What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Speaking of entertainment, today on the program, guess who's back? Rick Revel is back. Mr. History, Mr. Music, and a whole lot more. Got a new song called Singin' River. Look that up at rickrevel.com. That's Revel, R-E-V-E-L. rickrevel.com and rickrevelmusic.com. Oh my goodness. Looking forward to talking to him in the next few minutes. So stick around. This week's shows, I have two public shows this week. I'll be on Friday night, I'll be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. My usual Friday night gig from 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM. It's a video dance party, karaoke jam. Yes, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show every Friday night at the Rab, your favorite place to be, Conway, Arkansas. They got 10 diamond-style pool tables. In fact, they got a pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool and possibly make some money while you're doing it, you check out the Rab. They got good food. The kitchen, it's just delicious food. And they got drinks. So if you want to do some drinking, have some fun, and have some good food with your good friends at the Rab. And the more you eat, the more you can drink. Science. Don't look it up. I got to stop saying that. Come visit with me at the Rab on Friday night from 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM. And then on Saturday, oh my goodness, another public show. I have a regular Saturday night gig. I'm so stoked. For most Saturday nights out of the year, I will be at Mr. Brew's Tap House in Little Rock, Arkansas, from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. Talk about good food. Talk about good drinks. They got 48 different types of beers. 48. Challenge accepted. Have some good food. And, of course, the video dance party, karaoke jam. We are all set up. The weeks are just getting better and better and better. And all we need is you. Come on out. Saturday night, 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. Mr. Brew's Tap House at Park Plaza in Little Rock, Arkansas. So stoked. And it's a lady run. So for you ladies out there that like to be served, well, for you ladies and gentlemen out there that like to be served by ladies, there's a lady behind the bar. There's a lady serving you drinks. And there's a lady in charge. How about that? Pretty cool. Female run. Yeah. Support ladies. I know. It was recently Women's History Month. So there you go. Come on out. Saturday night at the, Friday night at the Rab, Conway, Arkansas, 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM. And then on Saturday night from 6 to 10 at Mr. Brew's Tap House in Little Rock, Arkansas. Oh, so good. So excited. So happy to be so happy to have public shows. You've been asking me for a Conway show and a Little Rock show. I have both. How about that? So come see me. All right. That's enough intro. Let's get into it with Rick Revel. I got him on Zoom, so if you're listening to the audio version, check out the video version on my YouTube page, youtube.com/user/KeysDAN. Zooming Rick Revel now.
Is that better?
Now we got Rick Revel.
All right.
The full,
there we go.
The full and unedited Rick Revel in the house. Mr.
Right.
History, Mr. Music, and Mr. Singin' River. Man, is everything you have to do have to be historically accurate and as refined as possible. Because did you actually go to Muscle Shoals for that latest offering?
Yeah, and it's craziest thing, hang on a second. I have the little signals on the phone. I'm trying to wipe them out so I can see you real well.
Okay.
These little pop-ups. I got them out though. Yes, there's magic. They say it's in the water down there. Dan, as I made my trip down there many times, you would always hear the conversation. I'd be recording at Billy Lawson's studio, and people would come in and they'd ask the question, what is it about Muscle Shoals that makes it special, makes it different? And for years, they've said it's in the water. And the documentary about Muscle Shoals, one of the gentlemen said, it's in the water. So being Jimmy Johnson and the different ones, Barry Beckett and the different ones with the Swampers, they always said it's in the swamp water.
Okay.
But as I began to really think about it a lot more, the Tennessee River travels right through Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
Mm.
And that's the reason they call it Muscle Shoals. There is a shoals area in the Tennessee River right next to the dam. You can see the rocks. And the shoals is basically a rock formation that kind of when the river's low, you can't get a boat through there. So a lot of the river boats had to wait till the river would rise when they have a rainfall to go past the shoals. And so the Muscle Shoals area got its name for the rock formation in the Tennessee River. The Cherokee Indians lived in the area as well as a couple other tribes. But the Cherokee, the Tennessee River makes a huge U. Makes U through the state of Tennessee. So it crosses through Cherokee country a lot. The Cherokee lived in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. So as they stood on the banks of the Tennessee, they could hear the rushing water coming around the rocks, and there's a lot of limestone rock around the riverbank. And so they would hear the rushing water, and they would say that it was singing to them. And they called it the Tennessee. That was how they said it in their Cherokee native tongue, which translates in English as the Tennessee. Singing River is what they were calling it. Tennessee translates in their language as the Singing River. And so I thought, well, dang, there it is. It's in the water, but it's in the Tennessee River water. So as the Singing River went through Muscle Shoals, I thought, well, this is one angle for darn sure that can grab it and say, this is part of the magic of Muscle Shoals. Then I want to add other elements to the song. In August of 1977, flashback time, I'm working at Loretta Lynn's ranch, and I'm actually standing in the office, and the news comes over the radio about Elvis Presley passing. And I'm going, it was devastating, because that was one of the things I had asked Mama, or Loretta. She loved everybody to call her Mama. And she always said, if he's ever in the area and I can make it happen, I'd love for you to meet him, because that was one of my requests. And he passes away, don't get to meet him. And he was one of my all-time favorite rockabilly artists. Rock and roll was, he's part of the reason we have rock and roll today. And so another group that is very influential on me was Lynyrd Skynyrd. And so they were hot at the time. I mean, hot as a firecracker. And they're really chewing up the radio. And, of course, I'm a country music guy, but Southern rock and country music, they're cousins. They're cousins. They really are.
Yep.
And so I'm hearing all this Muscle Shoals music, and they're my favorite. Of course, Dr. Hook and Medicine Show, and there was Jackson Highway Band. A lot of great bands, but at the top of the list was Lynyrd Skynyrd. So October. Now, Elvis passes in August, and now October's on us. Plane crash. We lose Van Zandt. And it's like, oh, man, it was devastating. So that hurt. And that was somebody else I'd love to have met. And the opportunity was now gone, because he left us. And some of the other members did, about 6 people on the plane. of the 20 passengers. And so that was devastating to me. And then you look at Muscle Shoals that other people we've lost. We've lost Rick Hall. We've lost Barry Beckett, Jimmy Johnson, the people that made the music, built the studios, and made the music happen for the artist. And they were artists themselves. So we've lost them. And so as I dug deeper into the Singing River, I'm finding out not just that it was something that sang or made a great feeling for the Cherokee. They actually would go there and mourn their dead. And when somebody would pass, they would go to the river, and that would bring them peace, bring them solace. And I'm like, wow. So I'm driving back home. Well, I just finished a recording session, and we're heading back home to Tennessee. And the whole thing begins to roll over in my mind and in my spirit. And this was kind of one of those spiritual things. And it welled up inside me that this is how the song had to be. It had to be a very reverent song. It would be a ballad. It wouldn't be an upbeat thing. And it had to be something that would pay homage to those that we've lost. And so oftentimes when I write a song, Dan, it's not just some people write lyrics and lyrics only. Some people write melodies. Some then are fortunate enough to put the two together. I've always been blessed and fortunate that that's what happens to me. When I got into film and video production about 40 years ago, then my songwriting changed again. And when I write, not only do I hear the melody, see the lyrics, and I also see visually the music video. And so I'm driving down the road, and I'm all these lyrics, and I'm having to stop every 10 minutes. People say, well, why don't you do it on your cell phone, record on your cell phone? Well, yeah, I can, but I'm a jot them down guy. I'll jot it down, sit there and ponder a minute or two, and then get back on the road. Because I don't want to be distracted driving down the road. I might run over somebody. So I'll pull off on the side of the road, and I'll jot it down, and I'll sing it a little bit. And as I'm doing that, I began to see when the Cherokee named the Tennessee River, I'm actually seeing a Cherokee or somebody in Native American clothing standing next to the river singing. So I'm starting to see visually this song come to life. So I write this thing months ago. 2 years ago, the song was recorded nearly 2 years ago. So I'm getting ready to produce the music video last fall. And I really, part of the reason I waited to do the music video is I wanted the fall colors. I wanted those trees to be turning. So that's what I did. I waited a long time to catch the trees just right. And I stood on the banks of the Tennessee River, not some other river somewhere, but the Tennessee River. I stood on the banks, dressed in buckskin, singing about the Cherokee, naming the river. And then I get a chance to go and sit on the shore, on the bank, what they call the lower bank of the Tennessee, there in Muscle Shoals. I am literally in a stone's throw. I can turn my head. If you watch the video where I'm singing out of the bed of the pickup truck, I could just turn my head and look up the street and see Muscle Shoals Sound Recording Studio, where they were in their second location. It's now called Cypress Moon Recording Studio. But then it was the Muscle Shoals Sound. That's where Bob Dylan cut his record. There's a picture of him standing next to the studio. And so I can just look right up the street and see it. And I'm right on the banks of the Tennessee River in the bed of that 77 Chevy pickup truck, singing about the boys that we lost, like Rick Hall and Skinnerd. And so I'm singing now about my heroes in the music business. Then we'll take it one step further. We make it personal, because when you get into the chorus, we're talking about losing loved ones. And so as you start hearing about losing loved ones, then you think of your own people that you've lost. And then that's when it comes into that first person position where the Cherokee were. They heard the singing river, but when they lost somebody, that river began to give them peace and solace. And so as the song developed and the music video developed, that's where we went. We wanted to make it something that would grab your heart, throw it on the ground, and crush it under the heel of your boot. You know, I mean, just mess you up good, because that's what it does. It gets you involved emotionally. The song itself will do it. I had people, before I did the music video, listen to it and cry. And they would start crying because they would get lost in the song. Now, if you're just driving down the road listening and you're distracted, that's a pretty song. It's a pretty song, but you're distracted and you got all this traffic you're trying to dodge. But if you get a chance to listen to it and really listen to the words, then it takes you on that journey and it does its job. You begin to thinking about mom, dad, brother, sister, somebody you've lost in the family before long. It's got your heart, and you're thinking about that singing river, singing a sad song, singing the blues. And I'm a blues guy too. I love blues music. And so I had to put that line in there. I went down to the Tennessee to sing the blues, sitting on the shore. And so Singing River, out of all the songs on my Muscle Shoals album, it's probably my all-time favorite from the sentimental standpoint of kind of expressing my true emotions, I guess.
Well, going through your song catalog, you have a progression, and it's for the most part, they're always a history lesson. They give you something to think about, not just a nice melody, because some songs repeat over and over and over again, and that's your standard American song. I want to put on my boogie boogie shoes, and and it just repeat it over and over and over again. But you tell a story. You mentioned Bob Dylan. He told stories. You mentioned a lot of country music. They told stories. Blues told stories. Muscle Shoals, a lot of those talented people that came out of there told stories with their songs, with their music. Now, I've taken pilgrimage across this country of ours, mostly in the South. I haven't made it north of the Mason-Dixon too much. I did go to Detroit recently and a few other places, but I spent a lot of time in Tennessee. And, Graceland has been one of my pilgrimages. Back in 99, I went the first time. Got to go upstairs and see the bedroom, and they had the mirror. You couldn't go in the bedroom, but they had a mirror that would show the bathroom, the famous bathroom where the king lost his life, lost his battle. I did go to Sun Records. I've been to Stax Records. A lot of history there. A lot of great talent came out of there. I do want to get to Muscle Shoals. I do want to go north of the Mason-Dixon and get to Motown at some point, and get out west and go see, Capitol Records and some of those others. There's a lot of history in those places. You step in those rooms. There was the one at Sun Records. They had a microphone that may or may not have been used by Elvis Presley. But the lady that was just before me in line at the tour, she licked the microphone. She licked it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm sure there was other people that have used that microphone over the years, and maybe the king did.
They have spit all over that microphone. Because when you sing, there's vapor comes out of your mouth when you sing. So
she had to have a piece of the king.
He licked all that.
But we can spend the whole hour talking about Singing River and that video. Yes, MTV did not invent music videos. Jailhouse Rock by Elvis Presley arguably could be one of the first, if not the first, music video.
And that was, and you named the one that got me and inspired me to do music videos. Yes, MTV, CMT, they had music videos, but it was Jailhouse Rock that grabbed me first. You're spot on.
Yeah,
that's the one that grabbed me. And that was, yes, Elvis was an icon to the world, but I'm an understudy of the music industry. So I studied him, and I wanted to know what made him click. I didn't want to be Elvis. There's so many who try to be Elvis. I don't want to be anybody else. I want to be Rick Revel, first and foremost, but I want to study him. See, where most people, Dan, lose it, they look at the music business and they overlook that second word, business. They hear music, and that's what they go for. They go for the music, go for the stardom. But that second word is the most important of all. It's a business. And I have to study what made these people successful. Yes, but it was Colonel Tom Parker that figured out how to make it happen. He made Elvis a product. Whether people want to realize it or not, he was a product. And Colonel Tom Parker knew how to sell that product, and he sold it well. And so you have to learn how to sell your product. As an independent artist, that's what you have to learn how to do, is sell your product. And you turn yourself into a product. Can't do it for ego. If you do that, you've lost the game. If you get your ego involved, you're in trouble. You have to look at yourself as a product and try to make the best product possible. So what do I love? Do what you love. And when you do what you love, then it's going to be successful. So what do I love? I love American history. I went on the bicentennial wagon train 50 years ago this year. I was on the bicentennial wagon train. Teenage punk kid, raised on a farm, cattle ranch. Left on the wagon train from Memphis, Tennessee, wound up in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. So I'm using all the things that I learned growing up around horses, but I loved history. I was about 9 years old, and they took us to Shiloh National Military Park. And I fell in love with history when I went to Shiloh Battlefield. And the park rangers took us around and showed us where the Confederates fought and the Union fought. And then later on, I find out I have Confederate ancestors. And so it's like, I have people that fought here? Wow. And so that drew me in tighter to American history. And it's like, wow, this is kind of neat. So now I wind up in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, and I'm where George Washington camped. And it's like, holy mackerel. So I met a gentleman named Mike Tully, who had an advertising agency. He lived right next to Valley Forge Park. His home property bordered it. He heard me singing around the campfire. He said, would you come start doing radio jingles for my company? And I started writing radio jingles and flying back and forth from Nashville to Philadelphia. And Valley Forge not being too far away. And so I'd fly in, go out to Valley Forge, and I do the radio jingles, but I would go back to Valley Forge where the wagon train ended up, and I would walk around that park. And that's where I had my experience where George Washington knelt to pray. And I felt, I asked the park ranger, take me to where he prayed. He did. And I heard a still small voice say, tell my story. Tell my story. So, Dan, that's what I've been doing. I've been telling America's story ever since. And Singing River is part of that. It's taking another piece, another little thread of American history and telling it. And that's what I love doing. And, brother, I hope sometime in the near future we can come back and visit. We, for the 250th anniversary celebration, we've got a song we're cutting on March 24th. And it's going to blow your mind. I'm writing with Gary Gentry, who wrote The Ride. Remember the song The Ride? About Hank Sr.?
David Allan Coe.
David Allan Coe. It's going to be very much like that. It's going to be a tribute type of song that kind of has that vibe and that feel of The Ride, but it's talking about American history.
So you made me think about where I was July 4th, 1976. I was at Topekiji Yugni Park in Miami, Florida, named after, it's a Seminole named park, Seminole Indians. And I was a Weeblo Scout at a Lincoln Martee Jamboree for the 4th of July, 1976. I'm about 7 years old. So we're about the same age. And I remember, talking a lot about, the Revolution and the American history. That was a lot of our time. But we were camping and we were setting up tents, kind of pretending and thinking about the soldiers and the people that fought to make this country what it is. But you talk about music business. You're also show business, because you have a lot of show in your business. You embody the people that you talk about, because on the other side of the music, if you don't have a song to write at that particular moment, you always have a piece of history to talk about. And you'll put your three-corner hat on, and you'll put your moccasins on. I remember in school, a lot of the girls would make the long moccasins. I think I know that I had a pair of the little slip-on moccasins. They came in a kit. I guess you got them in a magazine.
did.
They
You
came in
buy
a
kits,
kit, and you kind of thread them up a little bit, and you make your own little moccasins. And I don't remember them being all that comfortable, but I remember them being, it's kind of fancy, because we were trying to find our identity back in school. Yeah. And you try different things. You dress like a surfer one day, and you put parachute pants. You're a break dancer the next day, and Hawaiian shirt. And then Bruce Springsteen comes out. You put your denim jacket over your leather jacket with your red bandana on, and you try to be different people. But I digress. These are little pieces of dress up that I did. But you do it professionally. And also, a spoiler for people that are watching the Singing River video, in the beginning of that video, you whip out an 8-track. Okay? Kids of a certain age are not going to know what an 8-track is. I had 3. I had the Eagles' greatest hits. I had Stevie Wonder. I can't remember if the one with Superstition on it. And then I had Steve Martin's Wild and Crazy Guy. I had 3 8-tracks that I played over and over. Explain to the kids, what is an 8-track and what makes it different when you're listening to that 8-track?
Well, 8-track tape's kind of cool. It's basically a 2-track tape. It has two stereo. Stereo is 2 tracks, and so it basically has 4 2 tracks stacked on top of one another. That's the best way to explain it. And you would actually be able to do 4 channels. It was a cartridge, and back in the day, way before we had CD players and even cassette players, we had 8-track players. Cassettes were mainly for usage in the house. You'd have cassette players there to do memos and stuff on. And it was funny when I first started out recording. I asked my mom. I said, "I've got all these songs I've written." I was about 13 years old, and I said, "I got these songs I'm writing, and I need a way to record it because I want to get them to Nashville somehow." And so the first thing she bought me was an 8-track player that would record to 8-track tape. And so first batch of tapes I took to Nashville, they wouldn't accept them because they were on 8-track tapes. And I had to wind up going to reel, and that's when I got into the recording business. I started buying reel-to-reel machines and went from there. But 8-track tapes were very unique for the period, and you could take them, and we had 8-track players that were built into the cars during that period. In the 70s, you could buy vehicles with the 8-track player built right into the console. But in my old 58 Chevy that I was running around in, I had to add it to it. So I had an underdash 8-track player, and I had Skinnerd. I had all my heroes. It was funny. I'm playing in a country band. I'm playing in a gospel band, but just about all the music I listened to was Leonard Skinnerd and Southern rock and stuff like that. Because I was playing bluegrass. I was playing country and gospel, but that's what I'd listen to so much would be my Southern rock heroes. So it was kind of a natural way to kind of gravitate that direction when I started to put the video and concept it together. I wanted to open up driving down the road, getting the news about the plane crash. And I wanted to recreate a moment out of my life because I was driving down the road in my 58 Chevy. I was driving down the road, and that's when I heard the news about the plane crash and had an AM radio in the car. And so that's when I got the report. And so I thought I'd like to recreate that moment, but I'll be driving a 77 Chevy pickup truck. And I found a friend that owns a classic. It's a beautiful truck. Won a lot of awards with that truck. And I wanted to be driving down the road and get the news over the radio, recreate that moment. And then it's shot in black and white. That's what's so cool about it. We do it in black and white, and then it fades to black. And then as we come out of black, it comes to a scene next to the Tennessee River, and it looks like the Blue Lagoon. I finished this thing, Dan, in Kodachrome. Kodachrome is once again, goes back. I'm dating it in terms of I wanted to have that look of the 80s when Kodachrome was huge. In the 70s and 80s, Kodak sold tons and tons of Kodachrome film. And it just has this special look, the way it makes the greens and the reds and the blues pop. And boy, when I put that finish on there, that Tennessee River, which is usually kind of a brown murky look, it looks like the Blue Lagoon. So it's just shooting music videos and recording songs. They're two totally different animals, but you put them together, you marry them together to make a whole new creation. So you have to have a good song, great song. So you have to go into the studio and I got a chance to work with Billy Lawson, a very famous producer down in the Muscle Shoals area. Got to work with him. So I get the song together like we want it. Then a whole new project, getting that music video like you want it. So I get my drone operator, which is a doctor friend of mine, brings his drone in, and I shoot a lot of it myself. I have my own camera, so I shoot a lot of it just by myself. All that where I'm in the buckskin next to the river, most of that, the still shots, is me setting up the frames with two cameras and me shooting it myself. But then I brought the drone in and did a few extra shots. But the artwork of doing a music video is totally a different animal. Mm. It gives you a chance to be creative on a whole new level, and it brings it to life. And when I get a chance to enter it in the film festivals, the response that I get from all over the country is pretty dang cool, because I can send it to New York, and you wonder how they're going to accept country music and an old Southern boy. And when you win an award in New York, it's like, okay, we're communicating. We're getting the message out. And Dan, it's kind of cool. I think Singing River is just totally different. It's different enough. It's grabbing people's attention. And it's not just in the South. I'm finding people all over the country. One message I got from, it was an Oriental lady. She sent me a message back, and she said it was refreshing to hear a beautiful melody. Now, that's sad, Dan. That's sad that she's saying that this song has a beautiful melody. That's a compliment to me, but it's sad that the rest of the music she's listening to is what you were talking about a while ago. It's just repetitive. Mm-hmm. It's just repetitive, repeating the same melody and the same lyric lines over and over again. And a lot of hit songs are that way. But being able to structure a song that people listen to over and over again and then say it has a beautiful melody, that's like, dang, that's nice.
Now, you say she's from, she's an Asian lady. There might have been a language barrier, or was she able to listen to it in English then?
I think she listened to it in English because, but I could just tell by the how she put her name together and everything. Of course, she had an Oriental name, and I could just tell by her picture, her avatar picture. Yeah. I can just tell that she was not, and I could tell she wasn't from this country. She was somewhere else. I don't know if it's Philippines or where she was from. Yeah. But she does speak English.
Okay.
But I could just tell she was not from the States. And this was somebody that responded to my Vivo, a YouTube Vivo channel. Yeah. And I've had other people say that too, but for somebody to say that it's beautiful and it's like, wow, this is kind of cool, because my other songs have gotten a lot of great responses, and a lot of people love my other music, Hard Times in the Deep South and Son of a Moonshiner, but they're attracting these elements from all walks of life. But this song it's got a broad reach. And that's fun. That's what's fun when you get that song that captures a broad audience and brings them in. Son of a Moonshiner, it's stood on its own. It's been a big hit, but it's our Southern folks that love it. But all those folks that kind of, well, my great granddad, he cooked up moonshine, and you hear all the moonshine stories. I go around singing that song, and I hear people come up to me talking about, my uncle was a moonshiner, and they all tell their story about. And I've got some of the people off the TV shows about the moonshine. And they're contacting, can we use your song as a theme song? And they're like, sure, man. So, that's kind of cool.
Wait, so your song is out there as a theme song for a show?
Well, they're people asking. I'm getting people asking. It's not yet, but I'm getting people to ask, can we use your song? And they say, well, we'll talk. Money talks, all else walks.
No,
So anyway,
that's a way for an artist to make some money in the music
yeah, it
business. Is that that
is.
sync
It's
and
business.
yeah.
It is a business, and so it's been a crazy adventure. All the songs that I've cut down in Muscle Shoals, Hard Times in the Deep South is amazing. It's a minor chart. It's the N1M charts. But what's unique about the N1M charts is there's 1,000 songs on the chart, on the Americana chart, that I'm competing against. So I'm competing against 1,000 songs, and it's mainly musicians and song lovers like that are on the channel, on the internet channel.
Mm.
So it's basically peer voted, and Hard Times in the Deep South was over 20 weeks at number one. And it's like, golly. So songs like that have hung in there, and Singing River just jumped on its debut. It fired up to number one. It's hanging in there. Debbie Dixon, which is my radio promoter, she's getting things out. Jill Santamanez and TJ Cates, they're getting things out. So I've got a team of people I put together this time. I've gotten serious with this one. I had to. It's a serious song. So I've got a great team working on this song to try to get it out to the world. You're part of that team, Dan. You know, trying to get the message out about Singing River. It's not so much about Rick Revel. It's about the message of Singing River. You know, I want that song to mean something to everybody, because, you know, I know my days are numbered. You know, I know one of these days that I lost Travis Womack recently. You know, the world did. Didn't know him that well. Just got to meet him about a year or so ago. Very sweet individual, guitar player out of Muscle Shoals, recording artist in his own right, great guitarist, traveled Little Richard for a while. Great artist, but we lost him, and all we have is his music now. Music and his memories, and so that's what I want to leave behind. My music, memories, and things that'll make you think.
Yeah, I just caught a video of Little Richard and Tom Jones singing a duet together, and they were, you know, this is a reminder that musicians, singers used to sing. You don't need auto-tune and a lot of the special effects. I mean, the effects, they add a little flavor here and there, and a lot of people do use auto-tune. It's just another tool. AI, just another tool. Some people are afraid of it. Some people will never use it. But you use the tools at hand. But I'm watching this video, and they're just whipping it out there, just going. And I saw another one with Tom Jones with the America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent, one of those. And the son of one of his music writers was on the show, and he says, "Hey, do you know the song that your father wrote for me?" And he says, "Yes, I do." Starts playing it on the piano, and Tom Jones, without warming up, just starts singing, starts belting it out. And I say, that is talent, and that's what you're bringing. You have the subject matter for all your different songs. You can tell you put your heart into each and every song. And you're talking about the lady in Asia somewhere listening to your song, listening to the melody. Once you put out your creation, once a creator puts out, I guess you can call it a product if you want, or your art, does it belong to you? It gets taken by the listener, by the consumer, watching the video. I mean, you took the time that picking out that pickup truck, and I could see it's award winning. It looks brand spanking new. It's got an AC Delco radio in it. I know I had one in a '79 pickup truck myself, a Ford F100 that had a AC Delco in it. And your attention to detail, and it gives people not just a great melody, which it does, not just because they can just listen to the song and feel a certain kind of way, but you give them the visual as well to give them that extra. And I appreciate that. I'm a child of MTV. Ever since I had the opportunity to move away from record albums, which I had thousands of them. I think I got one left. It's sitting on the wall behind me. Never played it. It was sent to me by another artist that was on the podcast, Billy Creone. But anyway, I had thousands of albums. But as soon as I could start using VHSs, 2 of them, to play music videos at a party, I was going back and forth. Back in the mid to late 90s, playing music videos before they went digital. And that added so much flavor. I know I'm going to be playing Singing River over at the club this weekend. I have 2 different public shows that I'm going to get to play. One of the jobs that I have as a club DJ, as a public DJ, if I have 2 shows that are public, is to put music out like yours and put it up on that screen. And people will go, wow, that's pretty neat. Who is that? Oh, that's Rick Revel. Look him up. He's not only got one website, he had to have 2. He had to have one for his music and one for his history, rickrevel.com and rickrevelmusic.com. So, you had so much content, it overflowed into 2 different websites, plus all your different social medias. But I love that you've taken the time to, and you dress like Van Zant in part of the video with that.
I wanted to give it that. Yeah, I wanted to give it that. I want to always do a send off to my heroes, and here's your one. If anybody asks who's that idiot that's singing River and all that fun stuff, just tell them when they're seeing that video. And every video that I produced, if it wasn't for the people that volunteer and help me, say I work on a shoestring budget. When I say a shoestring budget, I am in the music business, but I do not have a wealth. I don't have a war chest. I do not have a big bank account. I don't have a Sony Records behind me. Everything comes out of my pocket. It's a business. I'm an entrepreneur. So these music videos are all produced for less than $1,000, closer to $500. So when they're seeing that, and I'm going up against somebody that spent $25,000 to $30,000 minimum on a music video, most of them around $50,000 on the major label end of things, that's what I'm competing against, Dan. So I've got to make it look right. I've got to bust my butt. It's got to look good because that's who I'm competing against. That's just, it's, whether we want to face it or not, the entertainment industry is competitive. I have people all the time say, well, it shouldn't be about competition, but it is. We're competing for the ears. We're competing for the eyes of the audience. It's whoever can keep their attention longest wins. And that's it.
Yeah, you're teaching people now, teacher. You're giving lessons, but the music community, and I'm sure in Muscle Shoals, you have a tight community of people. Here in Conway, Arkansas, we have TC's, which I think used to be called the Grand Ole Opry West. On Sunday nights, you can get a jam of all the local artists going in there. You'll get a drummer from one band, a singer from another, a guitarist, a bassist, a keyboardist, from many different bands. They'll all jam together. It's a Sunday night thing. It's a weekly thing. It's like going to your family's barbecue every week. And I'm sure you have that kind of a community. Even though you're competing, quote unquote, competing against each other for ears, you still have that time. But you've also given lessons that for a shoestring budget under $1,000, you can make high quality videos. I'll tell you the gear that I use. I have Adobe Audition recording the audio right now behind me. I use Adobe Premiere to edit the videos when I'm editing these podcast videos, just to make sure that they look right, they sound right. I cut out any anomalies. I mean, for the most part, a video like this, I leave it raw because I want people to hear Rick Revel as it was. No edit. This is us having a conversation, and the people listening, they're flies on the wall. They're eavesdropping, and they get to know what you know or what you wanted to impart at this time, Rick Revel. Right.
That's it. And you mentioned a while ago about auto-tune and all that. Are there times in the studio we use it? Yes, we do. Especially at moments when you've sung the same song 40 times and there's that one word, it's like, oh man. So you tweak it on that take. But to prove that I do not have to do a lot what some artists have to do, and it's auto-tuned all the way through, or they take auto-tune on stage with them. We did the Mike Weatherford show, which is a local TV show. Gary Gentry came on the show with me. I wanted I'm proud of Gary. He introduced me to Cy Rosenberg several years ago, who managed Charlie Rich. So Cy in turn managed me for a short period. And I just owe Gary a lot. He's just a great friend, and he's the one that wrote The Ride, like I mentioned. And it's a lot of Johnny Cash and George Jones songs. Huge songwriter. And always felt fortunate to be a co-writer with him. And I brought him on the show to kind of pay honor to him. And so I hadn't put the Singing River out yet. We were still working on the music video. And I wanted to sing it live before the single came out. And the reason I did, I wanted the world to see that no auto-tune, it's me. So when the single comes out, what you hear on the single, on the radio, I'm singing it live on television. And that's the reason I did it. And so if you look back at the video we did on that show, it's like, okay. And it's just me and the guitar. It's not me singing with the track or the band. It's just me and the guitar. And that's when you find out if an artist can do it or not. Is when they're singing live right there. They don't, and if you're going to audition for me, don't bring your band. Don't bring me your finished product. Just sit there with your guitar. Let me see if you can do it.
Now there are
that's truth right there. Truth or consequence.
There are studio musicians that will spend their days in the studio and never perform live in front of an audience of 100 or 100,000 people. And they'll spend their time in the studio, hired guns. I'm sure there's some over in the Muscle Shoals area. There's some at Stax. There's some, up in Motown where if you're a singer or you're somebody who has this talent, but you need a guitar, you need a bassist, you need a drummer. There are people that work in the studios, and that's part of the music business as well. But to be what you want to be, you can actually go out live in front of people, whether it be on that television show or at a bar or at a stadium in front of 50,000 of your closest friends. And people want to hear, when I saw Springsteen, I saw Hart, I saw Duran Duran, I'm a child of the 80s, Pink Floyd, some of those people, no, I never did get to see Pink Floyd live. That was my best friend. But I saw many people, live. But you want to hear almost what the album had, maybe a little bit different, so you share an experience with the people around you. There's going to be something a little bit different, but you know that it's not pre-recorded. They didn't put a CD on and the guy's just lip syncing with the CD. And that's happened, many times to some people's demise on television or live in front of a studio. They're pretending to sing and the record skips.
Right. And it's happened. I've seen it happen several times, actually. The only time that I will work with tracks, if I do work with tracks, they do not have my voice on them. It will have the instrumentation on it. So if I'm singing with tracks, a lot of times you do a TV show. I've done several, and they will, if the band can't pick up on it in time, the studio band, if they can't pick up on it in time, I did one called Cheyenne Country, and I thought the band was going to play it. I sent them the number charts and everything. I thought the band would play it, and I get there, and they said, "Well, did you bring your tracks?" The band didn't have time to practice. So they actually put the number charts in front of them, played along with the track, and then I sang with everything. So the band's playing, but they're playing along with the track. So I have done those things. So tracks will save your butt sometimes. I've had to use them. But I'd rather sing with a live band. I'd rather sing with a live band any day.
I've been a DJ since '86. That was my first official gig, but most of it was in Miami and South Florida, in that area. So I worked with a lot of freestyle dance bands, the kind that you'd break dance to back in the '80s. And a lot of times they would bring me their CD and say, "Hey, could you play this?" And I'll sing the vocal part. It would be a -1, or if they had a guitar and they wanted to sing, it would be a -2. It would be a track that would include their bass, their drummer, and maybe their keyboard, and then they'd play guitar and sing over the top of it. Stuff like that. Right. I'd have no problem with that, as long as the audience knows that's what they're coming for. They want to see that face, that voice, and whatever instrument they're playing. If they don't play an instrument, if all they got is if they are their instrument, that is good enough for most people. If they know that's the show, they don't want to get tricked. They want if it's a live performance, they're going to use a backing track. Everybody knows that's what's happening. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's a shared experience between you and the audience that got up out of their chairs. And nowadays, trying to get somebody away from their big screen TV with their surround sound and their Netflix, that has every movie that they want to see, all kinds of entertainment at their house, to get up and go to a Rick Revel show. You're going to give them a Rick Revel show. You have to. Do you change outfits when you're doing your thing?
Boy, that's a yes and no. I have, but to change out of George Washington into a different uniform is totally different. So I have done the thing to where I wear a universal black pant, a universal black vest, and white shirt, and then I will just do coats. And sometimes I did one show to where I just called it I wear many hats. And so I have over 50 hats, literally historical type hats and regular hats. And so I'll put the hat on, and then I'll just go into character with just the hat. So I've done stuff like that. So you never know what you're going to get at a Rick Revel show. Because of the whole thing you're talking about, I'll do talk about George Washington and go into character for Washington. My name is George Washington, and I come from Mount Vernon. And my message to you today, Dan, is honor your father and your mother and never spit into the fireplace. And these were things that he wrote about when he's 15 years old. He said, never spit into the fireplace, and especially if it's somebody else's fire. Now, these are things he wrote about. So I'll do something crazy like that.
That's good advice for a kid anyway. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. Never spit somebody else's fire.
The production value of having that costs time and costs money, to bring that kind of production. I mean, the Hamilton show showed you, look, all those costume changes takes a lot of time. You have to run behind the scenes, do breakaways. Maybe you'll have 3 outfits underneath. There'll be one person playing 2 or 3 different characters. So I mean, it's hot and
backstage
cumbersome.
You have assistants. You have to have assistants backstage.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
And for the most part, we're one-man shows. Yes, I tap my wife for a lot of things. I tap my children for a lot of things. Hey, I need some help here. And sometimes they'll say yes. And so production value just went up. But if they don't have the time, production's going to stay just steady. It's like, whatever I can do on my own, whatever you can do on your own with your still cameras. But you do have the ability, you have the knowledge to put those 2 cameras into a program. I mean, and you talked about reel to reel. I played on reel to reel. And for the younger audience, on your computer, it says cut and paste. That is from cutting metal, cutting tape, and cutting out that piece. Maybe you didn't want that word. You cut it, and then you paste it together, usually with a piece of Scotch tape. Cut and paste.
Yep.
I know how to splice.
Yep. I did a lot of splicing in the studio because I had to dub off because that was part of what they requested was to bring all your demos on reel to reel. So I had to do the master. Then I'd have to make a bunch of copies, and glad that day is over.
Yeah, there were.
I missed that sound. You know, the sound was totally different than digital, so I missed that analog feel and the sound of reel to reel.
Now, over the years, you've brought demos to different functions, different places. How many different types of media did you use? I remember in '94, for about 3.5 seconds, I used a Sony mini disc. I don't know where that thing is.
Yes, mini disc is. I did several shows on mini disc. Believe it or not, a friend of mine introduced me to mini disc, and so I started using them when I was doing school shows. I did a lot of pre-recorded music for school shows, especially when I would do George Washington and Crockett. I would have music playing in the background as I would do the dialogue. So I used mini disc for that. But I started out, I mentioned the 8-track tape. So that was strike one when I took 8-track tapes to Nashville. And they said, bring reel-to-reels, don't bring cassettes, don't bring anything. And so I started carrying reel-to-reels. And then it got to the point that they said, they'd said, don't bring cassettes. Then I was bringing up at reel-to-reels, and they said, well, we'll accept cassettes now. Yeah. And it's a lot cheaper and more handy. So because reel-to-reels, they were getting younger people to listen to the song coming in, getting just mountains of tapes. And so a lot of the people coming in were not audiophile people. They didn't know how to thread a reel-to-reel, and it takes time, as you well know, to thread a reel-to-reel. And so it was just easier to pop a cassette in. So they said, no 8-track tapes, no cassettes, only reel-to-reel. Then all of a sudden they said, no reel-to-reel, let's go to cassettes. And it's like, okay. So cassettes we did, and then it kind of evolved into bringing CDs, mini disc. So we went through that era, CDs and mini disc, and now, got flash drives and stuff like that. Or just send it to me in the email, Send me your file in the email.
And that is the latest.
And so, technology has helped us from that standpoint, but electronics and technology has killed the business in many other respects. I started watching it happen in the early 2000s in the buzz. What will digital do? We've got CDs. Well, nobody has CDs anymore. They're going away. You can even buy a brand new car with them in it now. It's like, unless you just have a special request and pay extra.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, CDs are gone, and that was supposed to be the tell-all thing that we'd have forever. So they're going, and so how do you do it? Well, you can't Bluetooth everything, and so it's all down to digital information. And I'm not a big MP3 fan, but that's what we use.
Yeah.
WAV files are much better, but they're too big to send, and so we now do it all on MP3 and a little compressed file, and that's what you probably have played today is off an MP3 as opposed to a waveform. Waveforms have a much better sound, but we have to work with what the industry will allow us to do, and so we evolve and kind of shape ourselves to work within that environment. But when it comes to sound, what was the best sound I ever got? Off analog tape.
Oh, for sure. It's warm. It's smooth. I miss playing records. I had 2 turntables and a microphone for many, many years. My techniques, I gave them up back in '99 when MP3s first started coming in, and I was able to store everything on my computer. And it was just so much easier than carrying a crate from Peaches or Tower Records with a bunch of records. Right. And if people ask me for a song that wasn't in that container of records, they're not going to hear that song. But now that you can buy a Rick Revel song for $1, $1.99 on your Apple, on your iTunes there, and have that, I need to hear this Rick Revel song. Let me buy it for you right now on iTunes or on Spotify, wherever you can buy a Rick Revel record, and then play it instantly. Bam, I got the record. but you don't have a physical album. I know that a lot of young people are finding it interesting. There's a lot of vinyl that's coming around, even some CDs. People that don't know what a cassette tape, it's a reel-to-reel condensed into a plastic case. So you have tape in there, and that's what we used to play music on. And when CDs came out in the early 80s, radio stations that I was working on was they were switching over fully digital. We are fully digital. Yeah, we had a turntable sitting over there in the corner, gave those up. I had cart machines. I used to love playing my commercials and my one song on a cart, which is kind of a smaller 8-track. And you had 4 cart machines at WVCG AM 1080. And number 3 doesn't work so well unless you put a piece of paper up there and jam it in. Okay, now number 3 is working okay. Don't even use number 2. 2's bad. So 1, 2, 1, 3, and 4. Those are the cart machines. The media that we've had our entertainment on over the years, and now you don't own anything. Everything is a digital file in your. Maybe it's in your hard drive. Maybe that's as close to owning something. But I do miss the liner notes. You would open an album, you would see the liner notes, you would read about Rick Revel and where he was at this moment in time, maybe a little history lesson there. Do you still come up with liner notes of any kind, and where can people see these things?
I do, just because of me being a nostalgia guy. I do. I put out a vinyl album for Muscle Shoals Sound, and I did a CDs for it with hopes at the concert you'd have people buy things. It's electronic technology. It helped to make it more convenient. But far as sales are concerned, I remember traveling with Loretta back in the 8-track and 45 record days and vinyl album days. We would go walk through the audience before showtime and armload of whatever we can carry, and people would just buying just bukus, and she would give us a commission. We get 20% of whatever we sold, and so you want to sell all you can. So you selling 8-track tapes and albums and 45s, and you're walking through there, and she would sell it. She'd make as much money off of her merchandise, and not sell a first T-shirt. T-shirts weren't the thing back then, really. It was the music, and so she sold tons of that. But for that to happen at a concert now, why buy a CD? Unless you have a CD player in your house, you don't have it in your car, unless you have had it installed. So CD sales have bottomed out. Album sales are trying, vinyl. Some people are buying it, but it's still kind of a niche thing. And so you don't have anything really in your sales. And of course, the whole thing of getting little thumb drives to sell to people, that's really never caught on. So you don't have merchandise to sell. And then after COVID, nobody wants to pay a decent fee for an independent artist. They'll still, fall off to the bathtub on, these guys that sing the repetitive songs over and over again, like it's on country music radio now. They'll pay $150 for a ticket to go see them. But that's the reason tickets are so high now. Yes, venues are high, and yes, it's cost a lot to put shows on. But the reason the tickets are so high, the artists know they're not going to sell any product, except for maybe caps and T-shirts. Outside of caps and T-shirts, what are you going to sell? Or other little gimmick items you might have, merchandise items. They're not going to buy CDs and the main media products that you made your living on. I used to make a living off of selling CDs and things like that. When I started, it was 45 records. I sold tons of 45 records and LPs. That's gone. That market basically is gone. It's just for those that still have that taste and want it. So the percentages are very low of what you sell anymore. So you got to make it off of what people pay the tickets. Pay for the tickets. That's what you have to. That's how you make your money now. And it's gotten more difficult.
Are you making a living? I know you're producing everything out of your pocket. You need an ROI, a return on your investment, and hopefully you're getting that, because you've been doing this
It's
a long time,
it's
riding with rolling with the changes.
yeah, it's harder now, and I'll tell you why. I think about the first time we spoke, I mentioned to you for about 5 years. I took care of my mom and dad. I dropped out of the business completely for 5 years to take care of them, and did so until they both passed away. And so, 5 minutes from the business, or 5 years, it don't matter. When you're absent, people forget you real quick, and the industry certainly does. And so a lot of the people that I was working with died. They got out of the business. It totally had changed. So by the time I got back into it, I had to start all over again. And so I'm fighting against the start all over again thing, being out of the business for 5 years. COVID hit at exactly the same time as I'm trying to get ready to start back. So the world shuts down for nearly 2 years. And so it's slow. It's a slow build. This has been a slow build. I'm hoping Singing Revel will be it. I'm thinking it is. This year, 2026, my bookings are starting to pick up. So I'm thinking we're there, getting close. It's going to have to.
Yeah, where are you heading?
Because it's a business. A business. You've got to see that return on investment.
Well, let's hit this thing. Let's end this thing on a high note. Where are you playing? Where's your shows coming up in the near future and throughout the year?
We're actually doing a George Washington piece at Pound Gap, Kentucky. I'll be singing River and my new song by them, my patriotic piece we're getting ready to put out. But I'll be doing George Washington, so that'll be my kickoff. And so the rest of the year is filming History Highway. We do, and if you would like to be a sponsor on History Highway, History Highway is a grand show. We show the best parts of America, the lesser known stories of America. It's on my channel AME TV on Roku and Amazon Fire. So that's one of the ways I'm trying to supplement and make a little bit of money. Of course, it's costly too, but producing History Highway, working on that. So that keeps me tremendously busy. And then we've got some more shows coming up in the fall. Debbie Dixon down in Muscle Shoals. She's putting some things together for the WC Handy Fest. So we're going to be doing some things in the Muscle Shoals area sometime over the summer. So by midsummer, when the celebration for the 250th is upon us, things will be exciting and going real well with then. So got a lot of announcements coming up on social media soon. Don't want to reveal too much because you know how it is. If you let cat out of the bag too quick, then it goes away for some reason. So tight-lipped on some of the stuff that's happening. But yeah, the first show in April will be the George Washington piece. So we come out fighting as George Washington, and the rest of the year we got some cool shows coming out. So.
Well, all the links to your various social medias and your websites will be in the show notes below. So make sure you do your clicking, my loyal listener. I love talking to you, man. It's always a history lesson. I love watching your stuff. Do you have a Patreon or a Cameo where people can throw you a couple bucks and you can make them special videos and such?
I don't have a Patreon. Well, I do have Patreon. Nobody's ever visited very much. So I do have a Patreon. So Rick Revel Patreon. But if you would like, just contact me through my websites or on social media. If you'd like to help us out. And I love to get to know folks. But Dan, I appreciate what you do. I told you last time I visited with you, I appreciate your hard work in the entertainment industry. Because you get the heart, because you are an independent. You're an entrepreneur, so you get it. I don't have to explain it to you. You get it. And so it's good. You know the heart of the independent artist, and thank you for helping all the independents out there. So appreciate your.
I mean, people know the public side of Rick Revel, but they want a little extra. If they maybe want a birthday shout out, they can throw a couple dollars to your Patreon. And hey, you'll give them a birthday shout out. This is me. I'm pimping you out. I'm helping the hustle, as it were.
There you go.
You know, so you can throw them a little birthday shout out on. I guess Cameo is what the A-list stars are using to do that, and Patreon for for us normal folk. But hey, look, we've spent an hour together, and as time progresses, hey, come on back and we'll chat some more. I always finish these things off with last words for the people. This could be words to live by, something you heard a long time ago, maybe a mantra you wake up with, or whatever pops into your head. Mr. Singing River, Mr. Rick Revel, Mr. History, Mr. Music. Give the last words for the people.
Whatever you do, somebody asked me yesterday, what was the best advice that you've ever given? And I tongue in cheek said, don't give up your day job. But the front portion of that saying is don't give up. And that's what you've got to hold on to, not the part about the day job. And I've had several day jobs. It's the don't give up part. I've been doing this since I was a young man, and now I'm not so young. So never give up.
Well, there you have it, party people. Rick Revel. Check out the newest offering, Singing River. Buy it on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you buy songs. Yeah, give that man some money. And hey, throw him a Patreon. Make him give you a birthday shout out or happy anniversary or something like that. Get to know him. Find him at rickrevel.com and rickrevelmusic.com. I hope I said that right. It's in the show notes. So click, click, click. All the links in the show notes. Yeah, there you go. Always a good time talking to Rick Revel. You know it's going to be a history lesson. The man not only loves history, he lives history. He's the kind of teacher, he's the kind of teacher you wanted in school. The guy that would dress up like George Washington when he's talking about George Washington, dress up like Abraham Lincoln when he's talking about Abraham Lincoln. He's the guy, the teacher that you always wanted. And check out his, he's got several websites, but the show on Roku where he teaches you history right there. All right? So support Rick Revel. Always a good time. Thank you so much, Rick Revel, for being on the show. I look forward to talking to you again. That concludes this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now, if you, my loyal listener, if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.